Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Friday, the 3rd of November. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined by a full-strength squad this morning. First of all, Chris Jack. How's it going, Chris?
Not too bad, Derek. That's the first time that full-strength squad and Rangers have been mentioned since about 2020, I think. So we're off to a flyer this morning.
Absolutely. Stevie Clifford also joins us for the second time this week. How's it going, Stevie?
Yeah, good, gentlemen. Good. How are we both? All good?
Yeah, hunky-dory. I think everyone's optimistic looking ahead to Sunday now, I think, which we will talk about shortly, folks. Just before we do that, still a lot of Rangers news to discuss this Friday morning, but just a quick word for our podcast sponsors, the great MPH Group, Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist covering all of mainland Scotland. Every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway. You could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun in Mexico. And they've also got a winter boiler deal on at the moment as well. You get a free high thermostat, free first-year service, up to 12-year warranty, magnetic filter included, and flexible finance options. The all-important links are in the description below, so do go and check them out. Right, just a heads up, we will be speaking to Philip Clement a little later on. Chris will head over to the Rangers training centre for us. Is it yourself or Joshua that's heading over there today, Chris?
I'm definitely going. I've not heard if Josh is going to give us a hand or not, but I'll definitely be there. So it's 1 o'clock for James Tavernier and about 1:30 for the manager. So we'll see what both have to say to it ahead of the semi-final this weekend.
Joshua won't be. Joshua won't be there. See if it involves doing work, he won't be there.
For the record, it was you that said that and not me.
Yeah. He will be doing work later on because there will be a members Q&A video a little later, folks, for those that are members on the YouTube channel. Me and Joshua will be taking your questions, so that'll be a little later on. But Chris, it's fair to say that there's a bit of optimism heading into Sunday now. Philip Clement, for me, has had a very impressive start to his reign as Rangers manager. He's getting a tune out of these players. I think Dens Park on Wednesday was an example of that. A lot of impressive performances from a number of individuals. He's really getting, as I mentioned, a tune out of some. I think Rangers will fancy their chances come Sunday. A big test, however. That's one of the criticisms of Michael Beale in his previous tenure, that he never won the big games. This is a huge test for Philip Clement, isn't it? He has to get through this hurdle on Sunday.
I thought Wednesday night was that impressive. Even Stevie was kind of optimistic after watching it. Well, I thought, as we mentioned post-match, Derek, I thought Wednesday was really impressive for a number of reasons. Just the way the mentality that they showed, they could deal with everything that was going on and then put in that really, really impressive performance. Now, yes, it's only one game. It's only Dundee, with all respect to them. And as you mentioned, Derek, it's big games, and that's where Rangers have fallen down over recent times. Now, Michael Beale showed when he came in at first that he could go and put together this run of domestic fixtures and take care of the games, but it then came to the crunch games. It came to your Old Firms, your semi-finals, and Rangers couldn't get over the line. Given the situation in this competition, Rangers are obviously huge favourites to go and win it, and it would be a real boost for this squad and for the manager if they could go and do that. Also, the final being just a couple of days after that game in Seville. If they could do that, it gives them so much momentum and a real bounce then heading into the January transfer window, heading into the second half of the season. So I don't think we can underestimate the importance of Rangers getting the job done in this competition. And as tight as a Hearts game was last weekend at Ibrox, hopefully it's not shaping up to be as dramatic as that one. But you would have to fancy Rangers to go through on Sunday, and then obviously we'll see what happens 24 hours previously, and we'll see hopefully who awaits us in the final.
Yeah, certainly do. Before I come to you, Stevie, huge thanks to William, who's gifted one Rangers Review YouTube membership. Thank you very much for that, William. That is very kind of you, buddy. Michael Climby, just echoing what Chris said there about your good self, Stevie, says, good morning, guys. Good to see Stevie back. Is Stevie happier now with Wednesday's performance? What did you make of it, Stevie? A lot of disruption, of course. And I think when the team came out, we had a few of us scratching your head. I've got to say, I admit, I was slightly concerned when I seen the team lineup announced. However, Rangers blew away Dundee. What did you make of it all?
It was good. It was surprisingly good, and probably the best I've seen Rangers. Certainly the second half in years. I thought they were terrific. Number of really good individual performances. Collectively, they were very good. And got to be honest, like the way they played surprised me. It was good. It was, there was the intent with the ball. They were really direct. They used it, but they actually done something that I haven't seen Rangers do in years, which was press themselves onto a game and go and act like the better team and be the better team. And that's what they done. They were pretty relentless in their kind of attitude towards the game. And yeah, Dundee had a few shots that Butland had to save, and that's always going to happen, I think, in a game. A team's going to get a wee half chance or whatever, but Big Handsome Jack was up to par, and all in all, I think it was a really good performance. I mean, no criticism at all, only plaudits. I thought they were great, Derek. Genuinely, I thought they were really, really good, and Danilo, I think, makes all the difference. And this is what goes back to what I said the other day when we were on. Like, I'm not bothered about my striker missing chances, because inevitably at some point he will take one. And, we did miss a few the other night. It was 5 and it really could have been 8 and nobody would have had any complaints. But it was really reassuring to see the kind of chances we did create. And not only, it was the way we played, Derek. It was the intent with the ball that really impressed me. For the first time, I just felt like we really imposed ourselves on a game, on an opposition. Tempo was good. I think the formation was really clear. It was a really clear setup for everybody, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's the first time I've been able to say that in a long, long time. And, special word to Sam Lammers, who finally turned up and showed us something that he's capable of, because that goal was an absolute beaut. And it will be in the kind of goal of the season conversation, I think, because that was a screamer. We used to do them in FIFA, used to save them, Derek. That went on the old highlight reel where it clipped the bar and the way in like that. So, and then his pass to Dessers, who even finished himself, was the icing on the cake for him. So, no, a great night for Rangers. Really, really, really good performance. And do you know what? I'm almost whispering it quietly, but maybe, just maybe, Clement might be the one to take us, forward, because if he can do that with a squad, get them playing like that, and it was Dundee and we need to remain grounded, and I get it, blah blah blah, understand all that, but just for the now, Dundee, we can be entitled to think maybe this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I've been impressed with him so far. Both of the style of play, I think, and the way he speaks also in his press conferences as well. I was seeing a stat yesterday, looking at the goal scored. Our good friend of the show, Adam Thornton, posted on Twitter, 13 goals scored in 8 league games under Michael Beale. It's now 11 goals in 3 league matches for Philip Clement. Chris, the stats are there for us. It makes good reading, that's for sure. Now, there's a lot of comments coming in here. I'd like to get your view on one or two of them that are coming in here at the moment. CGM55 for the point says, after Wednesday, Clement actually has selection decisions to make. Who does Cantwell replace? Does Davis or Suter come back in? And that Fraser Campbell echoes a point here. He says, after big Leon strolled it the other night, does he stay in for Sunday? That's a big selection dilemma for the manager, I think, Chris, because I thought Leon Balogun, as Fraser said there, he did stroll it. He looked good. It wasn't tested much, it's fair to say. I think Lawrence Shankman will provide a sterner test. However, would you be inclined to start Leon on Sunday?
I would be. I think we said on a video pre-match there when the team came out, and there was also a bit of kind of weariness about it because people weren't unsure how that had come about. Also, because Ben Davies did the pre-match press conference and then was nowhere to be seen by the time the teams finally came out at Dens Park. But we did say pre-match. Now you know exactly what you're going to get from Balogun. He's a solid pro. He's here for a reason. Knows the club. Knows the league. We know exactly what he brings to the party. and he turned up, he delivered, came out of nowhere. I think it's his first start since the Morton game, not had a lot of minutes over the last couple of weeks, a couple of months, came in, didn't look out of place at all, and produced a really accomplished performance. Also, we'll find out today when the manager goes through his now weekly ritual of rhyming off all the injured players, and we'll see how much detail he wants to give on it today. We'll also find out what the score is with Ben Davies and if he's fit or not. Obviously, we need to get an update on John Souttar as well. So it might be that Balogun has to play because there's no other option. I think he's now ahead of Leon King after that performance at the weekend, or on Wednesday night, sorry. So even if everyone is fit, I think the manager has got a decision to make. It's not a case of, well, Davies comes straight back in or Souttar comes straight back in. I think Balogun has now definitely put himself in the conversation.
Yeah, 3 clean sheets as well under Philip Clement. Stevie, it looks like he's tightened up that back line. In terms of the defence, would you be keeping it the same on Sunday, or would you be making any alterations? I know that Borna was on the bench on Wednesday night, but would you be keeping that back four?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you perform that well, you have to keep it. But given him what we seen last week when Ben Davies was up against Lawrence Shankland, I'd be tempted to go with Leon Balogun. He is a very good man marker and he can play quite tight to people. And this will seem possibly a silly kind of reference point, but he played earlier on the season and he marked Joel Newbley for Livingston. Now, Joel Newbley, you might think, oh, it's only Livingston, it's only him, blah, 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 but he's quite a dangerous kind of customer. And he's quite proved to be quite difficult against us, and he marked him completely out of the game. So I would be going with Balogun again and telling him to do that on Lawrence Shankland on Sunday. But he deserves it for his performance as well. So, listen, I've got no worries about Big Leon. You know, he's solid. He's got a turn of pace. He's good in the air. He's going to be good when he's called upon. So Balogun doesn't concern me at all. He's performed well. He should stay in the team. I thought the left-hand side was slightly shaky in the first half. They got through a few times, although we had held the line and there was good kind of depth to the line, playing them offside and things like that. So I was just slightly concerned about that. But I thought overall Yilmaz done well. And the thing is, look, I remain unconvinced by Yilmaz. I think he has moments and then he has difficult moments, and I think he's capable. We need to give him a run and really see if he's capable. Chris talked about this the other day as well, and it's a fair point. He's not been capable of putting together 10 games, but we need to see him for 10 days and understand that Europe kind of slightly disrupts that. But, you know, I'd be tempted to go with the exact same team for Sunday, and I realise that Cantwell, you know, wouldn't come in the team for that. But Lammers has played well. He's going to be high in confidence. Leave him there and see if he can kick that on, and you've always got the option then of bringing Cantwell on to kind of inject something into it after 60 minutes. So, no, team-wise for Sunday, I'd be pretty keen to go kind of the same again. But, you know, the bench is getting a wee bit stronger. That the other night, Dowell, Cifuentes, Sterling, Borna Barisic back. I know there is a kind of walking wounded and there's a lot out, but, you know, we are starting to get one or two back as well. So get them in that old Pyro chamber thing that he goes on about. Get them all in there. It seems to have done them the world of good. Keep them in there and just get them back as quickly as possible. But yeah, Sunday, same again for me. I'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's get to a few more comments that are coming in. First of all, good morning to Bob, who tunes in all the way from Adrique, Qatar. He says, I'm not sure if Qatar can be Dreek, but good to have you tuning in, Bob. Jan says, loving Big PC so far. The good vibes are back. And Hugh says, love when Stevie is happy. That tells me a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Rangers are certainly winning the fans over with their performances of late, it's fair to say. Just on Sunday's team, Robert Miller says, play your strongest team available. Totally agree with that. And James Quinn with the point just on that back line. We started well on Wednesday. I can't see him changing anyone unless Davis is fit. I'll come back to you, Stevie, because Jim McCarroll's message in Morning Jim says, good performance by Lundstrom, Stevie. I think he has been one of the most improved under the new manager. Would you go along with that?
Not really, no. I think Lunny's been quite good all season, to be quite honest. He's probably one of our better ones, so I don't really think he's been that improved. I think, excuse me, I thought he was terrific on Wednesday night, and probably, to be honest, was our best player. I thought in recovery and second balls that he won and stuff, he was great. Shuffled it quite quickly. And yeah, I was really happy with his performance. I don't know why it's become kind of ask Stevie about Lundstrom thing all the time, but he was good the other night. No surprise that Jack was next to him, and Jack was good also. So when you get that pairing, they normally are good. But that was Dundee. It's up to them to kind of kick on and make sure they're doing it regularly. I think Raskin, we don't know the situation with him. If he's going to be out a couple of weeks or whatever, then Jack and Lundstrom have got that opportunity. But no, I would probably credit Lundstrom with a wee bit more than just being an upturn since the manager came in. I think Lundstrom's been one of our better performers this season, although it's been an extremely low bar. But I'll credit him the other night. He was really close. Between him and Balogun, I think, for man of the match the other night. But Lunny deserves all the credit because he did perform well.
Yeah. Willie says, any news on the severity of Raskin's injury? We'll get an update from the manager when we speak to him this afternoon, Willie.
We won't get an update though, Derek, because Clement's already shown us, and Chris will tell you as well, that he doesn't talk about, this is the thing, and we need to get used to it. He's not going to say, Raskin will be back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. He'll just say, yeah, it's maybe a short term or a long term.
Yeah,
we're still evaluating it. He won't tell us. So it's a completely different scenario. We need to kind of get used to that when we're watching and things now. So just like Dowell and Cifuentes popping up on the bench last weekend, that he didn't tell us that either. And just like Ben Davis missing the other night, so he doesn't elaborate on any of that. So he's not going to tell us about the injury stuff.
Do you prefer that, Stevie, that it won't go into detail when they'll be back? Is that better, do you think?
It's a bit frustrating because it's a countless kind of questions. When's Matondo back? When's Roof back? When's, blah, 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 blah. And it's a bit kind of, when we had a time scale, at least we could go by it. But look, there's a definite way that Clement is in his press conferences that I like. Michael Beale was too open and he caused himself issues by people were saying that he contradicted himself and stuff like that. I don't think there's any danger of Clement doing that. And I think he's quite savvy. The couple of questions the other night where he says, well, you're just trying to make me answer this in a roundabout fashion. I think he's switched on. I think he knows what he's doing. But, that doesn't bother me for a kind of fan media point of view. You're just looking for answers. But for the guys that are looking for the headlines and stuff, it might be a wee bit more difficult on the old press side of it. But for me, it's quite refreshing. But people need to just bear that in mind. It maybe will be frustrating when I doubt he's going to come out and say Raskin 6 weeks or whatever. So we just need to wait and see with that.
Yeah, a few comments come in. Kevin Robb says probably more tactical, not letting teams know. Yeah, there may be a part of that as well. Why let the opposition know when players will be back? I'll direct this to you, Chris. Just expanding on Lundstrom. Alex Kelly with the point. He says, is Lundstrom worth a contract extension? Of course, he's in his final year. Ends in the summertime. Stevie's shaking his head. Chris, what's your overriding opinion on this one?
Come back to me in about April time, Alex, and then I'll tell you then. Right now, it's far too early. The manager was actually asked about, on the injury front the other day, he was asked about, does it change your thinking, what you're going to do in terms of January? And he said it's still far too early to even be thinking about January. He's still in this phase of assessing everyone and deciding what he actually wants. There's no chance that he's even thought about next summer and potentially offering players contracts. There's also a couple of guys in the squad that are out of contract at the end of the season. I don't think those conversations will be taking place right now. And certainly in terms of giving guys another two or 3 years, it's way too early. Like I say, if Lundstrom is one of the best players on the side, or like goes for MD, if it was Barisic in the same situation, if these guys can put together something over the next 6 months to then show, yeah, we can be a big part going forward, by all means, open negotiations and see where it goes. It's not as if you're going to be in the case of, like we were with Kent and Morelos, you're actually seeing big money assets walk out the door. If you lose John Lundstrom on a free, it's not like an £8 million blow that could have been McKent or Morelos or 10, whatever the figure was. He may well have suitors down south. He may well have clubs down south that want to offer him more money. Barisic may have the same in terms of teams abroad. Rangers at the moment don't need to rush into anything, and certainly there's nobody in the squad that's certainly banging on the door saying my performances merit giving me an extra 2 years. So if we're still having this conversation about Lundstrom, about Barisic, about MD in the team, if we're having these conversations months and months down the line, by all means, then we can debate it. But no, right now it's far too early.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. And this is an interesting point from World's Greatest DJ, Stevie. With January, of course, just around the corner, I'd imagine that Philippe Clement will be back in the transfer window. Says any clues on what type of player Clement will be looking to bring in? Robust, fit and athletic for sure. Absolutely, I think that's the sort of player he'll be looking to bring in. But is there any areas of the pitch you think that he'll might look to strengthen come January?
Wingers. Winger, Phil. Give us some wingers. Give us a natural left and right-sided winger. And then you can get me a centre midfielder, a centre half, a couple of fullbacks, maybe a striker or two. And I don't think we need a keeper. So we're all right for a goalie, but everybody else. But no, let's say, this is the thing. Clement's not going to crack a light. He's not going to tell us anything like that. But we can guess. And I would think that the way he wants to play, and you're looking at his formation the other night, 4-2-3-1, I think that's what we're going to do. And he'll undoubtedly, in my mind, be looking at Width as being the priority, because I think it is. And then after that, and I think he'll look for one on each side. So after that happens, it might be a case in January of, can we squeeze another one out? And then if it is, it'll be a forward for sure. And then we'll look, because we do have depth in midfield. The problem is half of them, can't stay fit for 10 minutes. But we do have depth in there. There is enough at the back. There is enough full-back cover. So for the moment, the places where we don't have is width, and we're short of a striker. So as far as I'm concerned, as harsh as this may sound, Kemar Roofe, you'd be as well writing him off. He's out of contract next summer. He's not going to be fit. He's proved himself. He had a hip operation which was supposed to have solved everything. It's not. I think, that could be more in his mind than it is physically. I don't know where it stands with him. Kemar Roofe's a great player and I'd love to have him fit, but he can't consistently be fit. So we can't count on him. So you've basically got, two strikers up there in Dessers and Danilo. And it's proven, Dessers has had a bit of a tough time. Whether he can turn that round, the jury's still completely out. But it might suit him to be second choice for a while and coming on into games like the other night. And he finished his goal really, really well. You could see that he actually looked, quite confident and quite comfortable in that position. So I would definitely say wingers are where we, not only where we probably will look, but it's where we should look, because there's a real lack of quality in the width, apart from obviously Scott Wright. So width and a striker, give me that, and I'll be quite happy.
Yeah. Incidentally, when you talked about Jack Butland, I heard his song yesterday for the first time. A thumbs up from me. Any song that samples Status Quo is a good one. And he certainly loved it when he was leaving the Dens Park pitch on Wednesday.
Cantwell one's good as well. There's a couple of good ones that have come out recently about the players that are really good. The Cantwell one, Danilo one's good. Jack Butland one's good. So, yeah.
It's inventive. I like them.
Yeah, look, it's better than, not having anything and sitting in silence. So the boys that are making up these songs and doing all that, thumbs up for me. So it's just trying to get Chris to stop his toe tapping and singing in the media gantry and stuff like that, but should be fine.
Can you hear that all the way from the Broomlow Den, can you? That's quite something. Yeah, it's also going against your theory of only bad players have good songs. So you're actually really divided on this one.
I know, but Jack's just that handsome that he can have a song and do what he wants, really. So,
yeah, he's been absolutely sensational. Right, guys, let's move to off-field matters. Of course, Rangers pyrotechnic displays creating a bit of debate. Scott Hammond with the point says, "Got my pyros ready for Sunday, watching at home, so hopefully it doesn't set any alarms off." The Scottish government have weighed in now. They've blasted the Rangers fans as being reckless. A spokesperson said, "Pyrotechnics can be extremely dangerous and it is completely reckless to use them in this way. It is a criminal offence to take or attempt to take pyrotechnics, including fireworks, into football stadiums, and the Fireworks and Pyrotechnic Articles Scotland Act 2022 provided Police Scotland with further measures to deter and prevent their use from June 2023. We welcome the stance that football authorities, clubs, many fans and fan groups, as well as frontline services have taken to pyrotechnic misuse, speaking out against it and working together on joint messaging and awareness raising. It comes off the back of Police Scotland saying there will be a probe into it. SPFL spokesperson also said it was very concerning and unwelcome at Dens Park on Wednesday. Of course, the match was briefly delayed just after kickoff as the smoke alarms were going off inside Dens Park. You were there for us, Chris. What do you make of it all? What's the end game of this? I'm expecting another display on Sunday. I know some fans are not happy with it. The spectacle, it looked absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to lie. However, there is a bit of debate as to whether it is a good thing or not. Where do you stand on it?
In terms of the end game, Derek, if the SPFL wanted it to end and if they wanted to lay out the end game, then they bring in strict liability and they punish clubs for pyrotechnics. But if they're going to punish clubs for pyros, then they need to punish clubs for banners, for songs, for any other supporter behaviour, and we then move towards strict liability. It's not going to happen. Now, the SPFL can put out as many statements as they like. They can hold as many government summits as they like. Ultimately, that's the only thing that's going to deter people is if they think their club is going to be punished. Even that might not be enough. I think that the club might lose 3 points. It might kick to a cup competition. If the SPFL really want to stop it, that's what they do. Until then, anything else they say or anything else MDL says is just playing to the galleries. The government had that statement yesterday. There was nothing sure of how this was going to unfold yesterday after what we saw on Wednesday night. Personally, I like the spectacle of it. I think it adds to the atmosphere. Some of the pictures and the videos from the other night there looked great. Of course, you have to understand the safety concerns over it. There's rules there for a reason, but I don't think we're in a situation where it's going to end soon, because it just opens up so many other avenues.
Stevie, your thoughts on it?
This may sound wild, and Derek, you pulled this thread of Stevie to get him wound up and off he goes. But how about our government concentrate on things like sorting out the poverty in this country, the food banks, the issues with flooding and Brecon and all the other things that are majorly wrong with this country? Here's an idea. Sort that out instead of commenting every time something happens with Rangers when you're silent with everybody else. So that's my thoughts on this government. I'm sorry if that upsets anyone, but I've got no time for anything that they've got to say. As for this country and pyros and things like that, I think it's a fantastic spectacle. I think that the more you push against it, the more that people will just try and get it in anyway. So why can't we have a grown-up adult conversation about pyrotechnics and pyro and get trialing it and being able to do it safely, instead of having a position where, like the other night, it maybe is a concern because it becomes a safety thing because we're just hoping it will go away and ignoring it and stuff like that. As Chris said, the governing bodies are powerless because nobody will want strict liability. So I'm not saying go ahead and do it as a support and things like that. It's obviously, there's laws around it and we can't say that. But what I would say is, why don't we as a governing body, as football clubs, get together and actually have an adult conversation and trial it, do what they're doing in other countries where they can do these things safely and allow people to do it in a safe environment. And those that don't want to do it, don't have to get involved. Maybe there can be wee sections for it and stuff like that. But let's try and do it and work with supporters and be grown up about it. And if you can't do it, then explain why you can't do it and make those regulations clear. But until then, just acting like this and, up in arms just because Rangers fans have done anything, it doesn't make any sense to me, because it just thinks of me as, anytime I've seen pyros in this country from loads of teams and they add a spectacle and they add something, but there never is a government summit and everyone flapping their gums because that team's done it. But as soon as Rangers done it, out they come again. It's a bit tiresome, Derek. That's just my thoughts on it. Can we not just be adult and have a discussion around it and try and sort it out?
Well, you'd like to think so, Stevie, but unfortunately that's not the world we live in. I'm looking forward to it. What's that?
Not in Scotland when it comes to Rangers, no.
Yeah. So there you go. Lots of people agreeing with you, Stevie, in the comments as well. Quite right in what you say, and I'm looking forward to seeing the display on Sunday. Denzel with a point as well. Stevie had it right of, after all, the SFA have 15-foot flamethrowers at hand, and they absolutely do. It singes your eyebrows when they get them blasting off when the teams come out. So interesting point there from Denzel. Listen, folks, just a heads up, that'll do us there. Huge thanks to Stevie and to Chris for joining us as ever. Stevie, prediction time Sunday, how's it going to end up?
I'd like to think we'll have another performance like the other night. I think the actual performance is really important, and I'll be delighted if we see that kind of intent. So I'll be there with Chris for Rangers Review. I'll take another 2-0 prediction for Sunday. And I'd like to see Danilo in amongst the action again. So, yep, keep that ball rolling, Derek. It's all about the performance for me at the moment. If we can keep seeing a little bit each game, then I'll be happy. And should read my article, Derek. It's out tomorrow for everybody that watches and subscribes to the review. It is happy. There's positivity there.
Wow.
I know. It's almost jolly. So give that a read, folks, when it's out.
Yeah, Chris, you'll be on the videos, of course, at Hampden on Sunday. But what's your feeling ahead of the game? We'll find out. Well, hopefully there's not many or any further injuries to the squad. But do you expect Rangers to come out on top on Sunday?
I would like to think so. I've seen enough over the last couple of weeks, certainly from Wednesday night, to suggest that Rangers are on the right track. It's still far from the finished job. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's not get too excited, because we've seen what this squad is capable of at both ends of the scale. But I think there's enough to suggest that Rangers will be victorious on Sunday, and I'll go for 2-0 as well.
Good stuff. I'm happy. Any sort of win would be good, as long as Rangers progress to the final. That is all we want. Right, folks, just a heads up, as ever, the press conference taking place this afternoon. For the members on the YouTube channel, there will be a Q&A, myself and Joshua, a little later on. We'll also have the press conference reaction as well, so plenty to look forward to, and loads on the website. We've got 2 offers on just now. If you haven't already subscribed, now is the time to do so. Just £4 for 4 months, or you can take out a yearly subscription, which is just £18. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Right, we'll speak to you a little later on. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.